Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It, of course, is February 19th, 2023, Sunday night, 9:50 p.m. Do you know where your movie talk is? It's right here, right now. We're going to be talking about why James Gunn keeps getting the blame for The Rock's screw-up. Not only The Rock, but like a lot of other people as well. We're going to be talking about clarifications of his statements. And of course, did I make an oopsie? Am I to be canceled again? I don't know, folks. We'll be breaking it all down right fucking now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. It's having some mic issues. You know how it always goes. Computer's like, do you want to work properly? And no, it doesn't want to do that because, you know what? It, like everything else in life, pretty much effing hates me. Also, had a little bit of fun tonight with something I'm going to drop this on the channel in a little bit. I'm going to start off tonight by having a little bit of fun. I'm going to see if we can troll people a little bit over on the YouTubes when the time comes. I made this little, we're going to talk about it too, but we're going to be kind of giving you guys a bit of a sneak preview here. This is a little short that I made and just see if you guys can note some stuff. Gunn's statements have clarified some confusion surrounding the upcoming DC movies. James Gunn, the co-CEO of DC Studios, has addressed speculation that the upcoming movie Superman Legacy was originally intended to be Man of Steel 2. Gunn clarified that both Superman Legacy and Creatures Commandos were in development before he and Peter Safran took over the studio's leadership. Earlier, he had confirmed that Henry Cavill would no longer return as Superman in the rebooted franchise, and a younger actor would play the new Kryptonian hero. Gunn has also clarified that Superman's age in Superman Legacy has not been officially stated as 25 as previously reported. He noted that people are speculating between 25 and 30, but he confirmed that Superman would be younger than in his 40s, and Batman might be a couple of years older than Superman. There we go. Ah, darn it. I gotta fix it. Son of a bitch. But anyway, that was all that was all AI. It sounds robotic because it was all AI. I was messing around with it. I wanted to see if I could get it to a place where it could work. Yeah, it's eerily good, right? That's like crazy, kind of creepy good. I'm all like, if I could get this cadence to sound a bit more like me, I would just drop it in there. These are shorts. These are like super quick. And I just kind of want to see if people out there really end up I'm gonna troll people with it. So we'll see how it goes. It's still not perfect. No, I actually had to cut out a lot of pauses because it took unnecessary pauses, and it has to do with the punctuation. So really, if you want AI to sound more human-like, you have to remove all like grammar. Is really what it boils down to. Did I see those spider drones were fucked? I did not see those spider drones. So definitely let me know on that one. Like where you found spider drones, because, that's crazy. Command Unit here asking, did I watch Quantumania yet? The answer to that is no, because I felt like shit last night. I felt like crap last night. I had a tension headache. I felt queasy and nauseous. So I just kind of stayed home, ended up staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning with my 5-year-old because she was just not sleepy. And so today I've been kind of just resting. I was going to go see it tonight again, but I was like, well, I got to do a live stream. So like, I got to hold off. Hopefully I can find time to go see it. I want to. I know people are talking about it. It's something I really want to go do so I can be able to give you guys my takes on it. But that being said, why don't we, Willie here says, there was crap on the internet saying that Kevin Feige was leaving Marvel. I hope this is not true. I mean, eventually he's going to leave, Willie. Eventually he is going to leave. And that's going to be okay when he does. I think he wants to establish that everything is going to be in the right hands going forward. Phase 4, and you could even argue to an extent some of Phase 5 and maybe even Phase 6 are a bit of a growing pains scenario, because once you're the top of the pile, literally once you are the top of the pile, king of the hill, the best, the goat of the goat, it's hard to challenge yourself in a way that doesn't come across as almost like lazy and self-serving. And that is going to be one of those scenarios that we find ourselves talking about as time goes on. So again, once I see Quantumania, I can give more of my thoughts on that, and I will definitely try to get to that tomorrow if possible. Plushy asking, should you watch this or Poindexter? I don't fucking care. I think you're going to get a lot more interesting and engaging conversation over here than you would at Poindexter. I nothing against Enosh. I've always felt that, like, you know, he kind of relies very heavily on having a panel of people to keep things interesting and keep things lively. You know what? Good for him. But honestly, I don't really feel like I need to compete with that. I know that sounds kind of egotistical, but it's absolutely accurate. Even though what they're talking about, I'm just looking it up right now. They're talking about the We Run with Gunn. So this is obviously a scenario where they very much want to talk about what happened last night. So we can talk about that. We can talk about that real quick. I wasn't gonna bring it up because I didn't really like give much of a shit, but I do feel that to some extent it might be worth having a conversation because of the way some people are taking it if you criticize it. And of course, I like to criticize things. That's kind of just what I do. So yesterday, for some reason, for some reason, there was a new hashtag that was created. A whole new hashtag was created last night, simply called We Run with Gunn, or Run with Gunn, or whatever you want to call it. It's something that was created by Saggy and by RJ, and they definitely, I think, are coming at it from like the right perspective. This isn't a counter hashtag necessarily to sell Snyderverse to Netflix. This is more like, in their mind, it's a way for people to definitely enjoy the idea of what's happening, right? The ideas of enjoying where DC is going. And I do think that is ultimately the right way to go about it. That being said, my personal take on this, and I have told this to them directly, is that it's kind of giga cringe. It's, in my opinion, it's absolutely giga cringe. Because here's the thing. When it comes to hashtags, I know a thing or two about getting into a hashtag war on social media, right? Got a little bit of experience on that front. You think this Snyder shit is crazy? Let me take you back 8 years to a little thing called Gamergate. And I'm not trying to bring that back up. That I ain't mentioning that for clout. I'm talking about it from experience. All right, from absolute experience. This shit is draining. This shit is exhausting. And quite frankly, there's a lot more interesting things to talk about. Sell Snyderverse to Netflix is not something that is feasibly going to happen. Those guys are going to run another event on March 18th on the 2-year anniversary of the release of the Snyder Cut. They're going to try it again. Try as they might. Try as the little hearts can take them, right? They're the little engine that could. They're going to try. That's what they're going to do. Good on them for that. Everything that happened on Valentine's Day is going to happen again. Twitter is going to suppress it. Twitter is going to block it. It might trend for an hour on a nationwide front. And then, of course, the absolute over spamming of the hashtag from the same accounts multiple times over, multiple times per minute. What we're going to see come off that is very much going to be the same exact result. Nothing, because no one is going to see it. These guys saying, oh my God, it was number one in entertainment. It was number one to them because of the way Twitter's algorithm works. Is very similar to the way YouTube's algorithm works. When you engage with something, it shows you more of it. If you engage with it a lot, it shows you more of that thing. Because Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok are all designed to keep you on their app as long as humanly possible. So how do they do that? Oh, baby. Oh, they come at you hardcore with that sweet, sweet shot of dopamine. Ooh, they want those endorphins flowing. They want you to feel so good, like you're on a 5-day cocaine bender that's not going to end with some Brazilian model mouth wrapped around your penis, sucking you dry like a vampire from the Blade movie. You're in pure ecstasy, pure heaven. That's where you are, and that's where they want you to be. And that's what this whole thing is. That's why this is just a cope echo chamber. That's all it is, guys. It's just a cope echo chamber. That's it. All right. And as a result of that, these guys are just going to continuously, it's Sisyphus. It's Sisyphus. It's the old tale of the man who pushes a boulder up a hill only for it to fall back down on him before it gets to the top. And that's all this stuff is. They're just going to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. It is the literal definition of insanity. The literal definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. And that is where we find ourselves with the hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix or sell Snyderverse to Netflix. It is the literal definition of insanity. And so the problem with that, is that there are people that come to this channel that I think, like, I saw them on a live stream earlier tonight. I saw them on a live stream earlier tonight, and I kind of feel like they were a little bit like, they're like, well, they're playing up whoever's hosting that show, right? And I want to show you guys a clip from that, by the way. I really want to show you guys a clip from that whole nonsense of, like, this is when we talk about how crazy some of these people can be. When we talk about the crazy mindset, when we talk about the crazy nonsense, we talk about everything that they're up to. This is what it boils down to. So Prime the Godfather, who I'm not a big fan of, but he's kind of come over to the Sill Nation is full of shit. This hashtag is full of shit. Everything involving with these guys is full of shit. He was actually being able to kind of go after Zod Rider tonight and do all this. And Zod, some of the stuff I saw was absolutely funny. I actually logged in under the Podio commentary channel, trying to ask him to come on, and I want to ask him questions, and then he immediately ended the stream afterwards, which I thought was really funny. And I announced it as me. All right. He chose to ignore me. He chose to not acknowledge me, but he immediately ended the stream, which was really, really funny. So, this is, I want you guys to listen to this, because this is insanity as defined by doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
The tweet released, the Snyder Cut was released to where we are now. And I'm telling you right now, that timeline doesn't make sense. That's not even enough time for somebody to sneeze. I've been writing my book for longer than 6 months, Prime. The numbers don't add up. And that means that it's being sabotaged from within. That's what it means. It's sabotage. It's business sabotage. Gunn is a double agent for Marvel, and people need to understand that. People need to realize that and stop trying to make it seem like James Gunn has good intentions and he's going to do good for DC, because he's not. He's not doing anything good for DC. It's ridiculous. Anybody that sits here and tries to tell me that James Gunn is in it for the right reasons and actually cares about DC, and you show me that laughable slate that I swear to God he wrote literally 10 minutes before he had to go live. I'm done. I don't have.
Yeah. So again, his whole stream, from what I was able to catch, was very similar to that. His entire stream was copamine. It was copium. It's all it was. That's all it was. Darkness here's, oh my God, Zod went crazy. I saw you in the chat there, Darkness. I saw you in the chat. Feel free to call out Fourth 1000, because he's in there back on that shit too. And I like Bell Reeve, but Bell needs to not support that shit either. All right. That's what I'm talking about here. Yeah. What the hell? He went off the deep end. Here's the funny thing about when it comes, Zod, is I have criticized Zod to his face about calling James Gunn a plant from Marvel, right? All of that shit. And he has denied it. He's like, I never said that. I never said that. I never said that. And then here he is again, talking about this. He's talking about working on his book for 6 months. It's nowhere near being done, which is weird, because it's not like the story has continued to evolve. It's like the movie came out 2 years ago. They told you it was going to be a cul-de-sac. That hasn't changed. It was a cul-de-sac. It went nowhere. It did nothing. Henry Cavill coming back in Black Adam was definitely also not something that was going to, it didn't move the needle. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely talk about that. All right. But this is one of those things, is just, you have to realize that this is getting to the point of where, if they were in California, you would almost want to contact the authorities and say, hey, 5150, check on these guys. Ski Walker is in California. Like Ski Walker was, is believing that all of this stuff is like happening for a reason. He thinks that like he literally was saying that he feels that James Gunn's scared because of the hashtag, that they're doing everything because of the hashtag. It's just like they don't understand how business works. They don't understand how the industry works. It's not even like they just simply do not understand. And every time I try to go, yeah, maybe they're just going to be dumb, let them be dumb, I get sent a clip like this, and you just go, yeah, no, I have to laugh at that. I have to laugh at that because all I have to do is ask them one simple question, and it destroys their entire narrative. And I actually asked this on the hangout RJ had last night with the guy. He was as a Sill fanboy, some guy named Mars. And I asked him, I said, do you trust James Gunn to oversee Zack Snyder's Justice League 2? And he goes, fuck no. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what would happen. That's exactly what would happen. If under some circumstance, Netflix was able to work a deal with Warner Brothers over this and get Zazie to sign off on it and everything else, DC Studios would still be the producers of that movie. Netflix would simply just be the distributor. That's how this stuff works. Netflix is known for giving creative freedom. They may say they want Zack Snyder to come back. Cool. They might make it work, but Snyder will still be working underneath James Gunn and Peter Safran. Like that doesn't change. That doesn't change. That is exactly how things are going to be. But unfortunately, guys, really unfortunately, they are beyond delusion at this point. And you know what? They're not the only ones that are like that here. Isbum says if Black Adam had a China release, it would have broke even. Yeah, maybe I'll grab you that one. I'll grant you that one, dude. But at the same time, was it enough? Was it enough to kept it going? And the answer to that is still no. It needed to do more than break even. It absolutely needed to do more. Now, to be fair, to its credit, all right, to its credit, I have to agree that it did do well on iTunes and PVOD, and I do believe that it has sold moderately well on home video. So on that front, absolutely, it's done well where in the ancillary market, but not the market where it really mattered. We're kind of beyond the place now where high streaming, they've got to find a way to make it work. And it was a power vacuum situation. But we'll talk more about that as we get to that, right? We'll definitely talk about that more. But I do want to talk about someone else who's absolutely crazy and insane. And so this would be Eric D. July. Now, I don't talk much about Eric D. July. I really don't. But I kind of felt the need to respond to this because Eric D. July is, again, another one of these culture war grifting idiots. I can't really call him a loser. I can't because, he does have his Rippaverse comic, which surprisingly, was able to get the comic out to the people who bought it. It did have a very good, very large campaign. The quality of product is, from what I have seen, middling quality. We'll have to wait and see how it goes over time. But on that front, he does have a good amount of people who watch him, who are also culture incels, who believe that this kind of shit. So here's the thing. He did a video complaining about this three-way shot of Harley, Poison Ivy, and I'm not too sure who the other woman is. And he's upset about this, right? He's definitely upset about this. He says, the mainstream comic industry is filled with self-insert fan fiction. DC comic writers use her platform to push their own fetishes and sexual preferences into existing characters, but we're always gaslit by these people. Full video on YouTube, yada, yada, yada. So he's upset that canonically gay characters, right? Canonically gay characters, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and where they are now, they just even in the animation show, they just went on their Eat, Bang, Pray tour, whatever the hell it was, right? I think through comics and on the show and stuff. He's upset that three women are kissing. So I'm kind of shocked by that. So I just had to respond back by saying 100% guaranteed you're into cuck porn. Now, a lot of people might be eventually mad at me for saying this. Obviously, Matt, you're going too far. You're making fun of Eric D. July. Don't you know he's just a humble libertarian? Don't ever ask him about roads. Don't ever ask him about roads, man. Don't ever do it. But you can't, come on. A guy like this, always guys like this, always, 100% guys, 100%. We all know how this stuff plays out. We all know the playbook, right? You come on out, you criticize sexualization, via demagoguery. You create part of the culture war, like women expressing themselves through sexual gratification is wrong. Like, again, these are the guys who believe the female orgasm is a myth. They believe that the female orgasm simply doesn't exist, that all women are generally faking it. They think that women deserve to be, subservient to them. This is how they operate. This is the culture war that they find themselves in. Now, don't get me wrong. To some extent, I'm pretty sure a fair amount of it's kayfabe. As I've said before, kayfabe is kind of the enemy of all people. And we need to be more aware of what kayfabe is and how it definitely influences, people when they start making money by playing into the kayfabe. Look at Friday Night Tights. I mean, it's basically all kayfabe. But again, these guys do self-report all the time. So it's so funny because as much as they push back against this, right? Oh my God, women making out in a comic. I hate it. It's degeneracy. I want to see the skeletons in Eric D. July's closet, because I guarantee you they could fill a graveyard. All right. I bet you the kind of shit this guy looks up. This is all speculation. All right. I'm not making accusations. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter what it is. He could watch the most, this guy's like what? He works with Glenn Beck, who's a degenerate, who's friends with Alex Jones, who's a degenerate. Come on, Alex Jones into some, like we know that he watches trans porn, right? And again, if that's what you're into, if you're into watching femboys get ass pounded and you just want to see, see some cheeks getting clapped that are connected to balls and a dick, by all means, go at it, have at it, Haas, right? What you do in the privacy of your own bedroom, quite frankly, is that's freedom. So you know what? But don't get upset. Don't get upset when people draw comics of three attractive women making out, Says now if you're upset about that, now you're just self-reporting. That's all it really boils down to here. All right. Ryan Mason here says, come on out, Eric, or Eric won't do that. It's like Steven Crowder just recently, Steven Crowder had said that, he had a bisexual phase, albeit a brief one. And he's afraid of that rearing its ugly head again. And this is the thing with these guys. All they do, they attack the culture. They attack sexuality. They attack identity. That's it. That's what they do. And then deep down, we all know that they're attracted to it, right? That they like this kind of stuff. And it's like, just let your freak flag fly a little bit, but you can't, because you speak to an army of incels who have never once been close enough to sniff a pussy, let alone actually enjoy one, right? Or even maybe a dick for that fact. I don't know what they've got, right? Or whatever they might be into. These are the kind of people who have never experienced sexual gratification that was not done through their hand or a toy they purchased on the internet. This is literally what these guys are. So of course, anything that goes against the trad concept of conservatism is met with disdain, right? And terror and fear porn and all that kind of shit. When in reality, people expressing themselves openly and freely with, I don't want to say without scorn, because you can have whatever opinion you want, all things considered, but being open and able to do that is the bedrock of our free society. And so people who are all for First Amendment, free expression, yada, 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 they should be championing all this kind of stuff. Don't you think? Don't you think it's within the core concept of their belief, of their ideology, that they should be like, that's right. If you are able to, you should let your freak flag fly. You should be able to engage in lesbian sex if you so wish, or gay sex if you so wish. You have that right, that ability, that freedom as an American under our Constitution to engage in those acts. And I support your freedom of choice as granted to you as the same one that's granted to me. But no, it's degeneracy. It's a gaslight. It's a self-insert. That's what they do. It's so fucking funny. But if you got into their search histories, oh, the shit you would fucking find. The shit you would fucking find. You know as well as I do that they would find some fucking shit. And that's why it's super fucking funny. That's why it's super fucking funny. Because again, I'm going to bring this one up as well, right? And this one might get me in some serious trouble. People have been trying to call me out on this one all day. It's been pretty goddamn funny. I don't give a shit, right? Look at Gary. You look at Gary. All right. Look at Gary here. Posted this shirt, right? Got my new shirt from Flagrant Triggers, clearly whatever. But he's just like, make Marvel male again. And then I just say, tell me you're gay without telling me you're gay. Eric D. July, big fan of Gary Nerdrotic, big friend of Friday Night Tights, right? They promoted Rippaverse out there criticizing 3 women making out because it's degeneracy. It's gross is the words he's trying to use, the idea that he's trying to convey. Gary comes back out literally the same day, a couple days later, make Marvel male again, just to trigger some people. And I think the people here who are triggered are the ones that are buying that kind of shit. So wait, you're telling me that you want to see buff, oily superhero men? That is not a self-insert on your part? You want to see them grapple other oily, super sweaty, super soldier supermen and battle it out Greek wrestling style? Because that's kind of what you're telling me that you're into. What you're telling me that you're into is you just really want to see balls and dicks smashed together like, all the time. Like, these are the kind of guys that get a boner watching wrestling and don't quite understand why. Like, no, I'm looking at Trish Stratus. I'm not looking at Triple H. Fuck. No, down, boy, down. Like, this is the kind of shit that they're into. This is why it's fucking hysterical to me. All right? That's the whole fucking point. Is these guys are just, it's all a self-report. All they do is a self-report. And that's why it's the funniest goddamn shit on this fucking platform. And the greatest thing about it is that these guys have an army of people who watch them and listen to their every word and don't realize that they're being indoctrinated with the same shit, right? How many of those bros are like, yeah, bro, fuck, man. Fuck women, bro. Yeah, man, fuck women, dude. Fucking being with women is gay, bro. Yeah, bro. Look at Nick Fuentes over there at America First. Same kind of bullshit. Right? He's out there saying dating women is gay, having sex with women is gay. He would wear a shirt like this and he wouldn't wear it ironically. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the whole point, is these guys don't realize that they're getting into some shit. And it's definitely booty. It ain't pussy. I'll tell you that. That's why it's so goddamn fucking funny to me. That's why it's just so fucking funny to me. The whole fucking thing is just nuts. But of course, listen, they'll deny it. And they have every right to deny it. But I think if you pay attention, if you really just, it's not even like you got to pay hard attention to this. That's because it's so funny. Their audience is so brain dead, so clueless, so absolutely filled to the brim with unreleased cum because apparently masturbation is bad. If women making out is degeneracy, clearly in Eric D. July's mind, wanking one out to it is also degeneracy. You gotta save that cum for when you're fucking in a committed heterosexual relationship, brother. Like, that's the kind of shit he would fucking say while looking like a God. He looks like he doesn't wash. That's the thing with Eric. Like, he's so hairy. He's like it's so creepy. He's just fucking, dude, trim your goddamn beard. That's my thing. That's my thing. Like, I can't stand like unkept beards and shit. But anyway, I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying on this. These guys are just fucking, these guys are just crazy, man. And to me, it's hysterical because it just never changes, right? To quote Ron Perlman from what's it called? Fucking Fallout. War never changes. That's basically what it is, which is why it's really funny. Which is why, to me, it is really hilariously funny at how nuts all of this crap absolutely goes. But on that note, there are some super chats. Hold on here. Rational dropping an interesting one. Zod Rider is going to be doing a stream with Robert Meyer Burnett. Will Robert call him out on the Gunn comments? No, of course not. Of course not. You know that. You know he won't actually say anything about that, right? Roman here says useful idiot clowns, 100%. 100%. That's why the West is dying, folks. Not because of degeneracy, but because of illiteracy. That's all it boils down to here. It's like, I read the Bible. I know what's good and what's bad. Oh, gee, do you there, Hoss? You got a solid idea what's going on? You guys probably watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and think Jack Horner's the good guy. Anyway. All right, kind of getting into some supers here because Command Unit dropped a few. Says the user reviews are very positive. The Culture Warriors absolutely hate Quantumania. The critics I feel don't understand where the story is going. And they don't. They don't. I think because when we watched Avengers back in 2012 and we got the end credit scene with Thanos, you knew where it was going. They didn't have to say it, but you knew where it was going. And as a result of that, it worked out. We knew that was the plan. The Infinity Stones, Thanos, we knew where things were going. Here's a little bit different because now they've got to reset, recalibrate, introduce new heroes, introduce new team ups, introduce new villains, introduce new things. And it takes a little bit of time considering that it's like a whole new season of a show. And if you ever go back and watch some shows do really well their first season, but don't really pick up until their third season. And that's simply because it takes them a little bit of time to get their footing. They got to recalibrate things and figure out what works and what doesn't work in the second season. And then by the time you get to your third through your fifth season, it's usually pretty top tier. I mean, look, go and look at Breaking Bad as an example, right? The first season of that show, tonally, super different from where like the rest of the seasons went. Completely super different. But by the time we got to season 3, the show hit its stride and it carried it all the way to the end. So you got to remember that this stuff takes time, it's development, it's practice, it's all that stuff. But thank you. And then also another fiver from Command Unit here says the critics see Quantumania as an individual film when it's basically the opening of phase 4, or you mean the opening of phase 5, and Marvel loves sprinkling story bits for later. Yeah, I believe at the end of phase 4, from what I was reading the other day, there's approximately 14 or 15 non-resolved storylines that are probably going to ultimately go nowhere, let's be fair, or get answered very far down the road. And that's okay because this is the kind of storytelling that Kevin Feige does. And at this point, the critics should probably know how well things are going to go. And then also here for the Command Unit here, it says Ant-Man is going to do very well in China. I hope so. I hope it's going to do well. I want to see it do well. So I appreciate all that. There was okay, hold on here. And then we got this is for Fiverr. Thank you, buddy. Saying here, I've taken TV production in high school. I know how this goes. Some people think Netflix made Arcane when in reality it was Riot Games. Well, I mean, like, did Riot Games do the animation, right? Who did the animation for Arcane TV show? I'm just going to Google this here. Studio Fortiche. It was produced by the French animation studio Fortiche under the supervision of Riot Games. Set in Riot's League of Legends fictional universe, it primarily focuses on sisters Vi and Jinx. The series was announced at the League of Legends 10th anniversary in 2019 and first released in November 2021. So yeah, it's definitely the scenario where what you've got is, it's another company handles it, right? But these guys don't think that. These guys don't think that at all, right? These guys are just like completely ridiculous. And that, of course, is just where we find ourselves because it's just, again, people who don't know how things are try to act like they don't know, like they do. And it's just, they get proven wrong time and time again. That's why it's constant L's. We got Command Unit here for 2 saying, run it. All right. I'm just going to bring this up here. This is, let me just make sure everything is set because StreamYard doesn't always give me the option of doing that right away. Okay. So this is George Takai.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with that as well. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Those guys are asked. That's a little bit too long of a clip. I might need to cut it down to the "you're made of stupid" and make that as a drop. But yeah, pretty much. It's going to be a very interesting thing. Blargan here says, considering practically all of phase 4 was banned there being China, I think the casual moviegoer in China probably isn't as invested anymore in the MCU. True. Now, here's the thing. The movies weren't banned there. They weren't banned there. They just didn't release there theatrically. That doesn't mean that the people there didn't see them. I think we need to consider that. Like, remember, the Snyder Cut, just kind of going back to that, it didn't theatrically release in China. It didn't theatrically release anywhere. But it did play on a streaming service in China and apparently had done quite well. So I do think that we have to remember that movie theaters aren't the only source of viewing. that people have. I'll give you guys actually a fun little anecdote, right? So you've all seen the movie Taken, I'm assuming, right? You've all seen Taken. Came out January 2009 here in the United States, was a big hit. Everybody loved watching Liam Neeson just kick ass and chew bubble gum and shoot his way through all the sex trafficking ring in like France and shit, right? But here's the thing. The movie came out earlier in the UK, in France and stuff, right? The movie came out earlier. In fact, the unrated version, if you've ever seen the unrated version, which is the far superior version, that was the initial release in the UK. The movie hit DVD in the UK before it even hit theaters here in the States. So the weekend that Taken came out, a friend of mine who worked at the drive-in with me had the DVD quality rip of Taken on his laptop. And when we were showing the movie for the first time on the first day of its release, people would come on up and ask him what he's watching. And he's like, "Oh, I'm watching Taken." And they're like, "Yeah, that's what we're here to see." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm watching the unrated cut from the UK, which is very different from what you guys are going to go see." Like, I mean, like that is just like how some of this stuff plays out. You know what I mean? Like, just like that's the whole point. Anyway, some things they get out there in different fashions. Blargan here says, did they get official releases outside of theaters? I figured they were impossible to get without piracy. Dude, I don't know specifically if that's the case, but I mean, they have piracy in China. I mean, they have a lot of piracy in China. Like even Nintendo has made like a Chinese specific console that was not piratable. You know, I mean, I remember when the 3DS, it was super easy to get a freaking like ROM chip from God, what was the website? I forget the website. It was like $10. You could order it from China and played any game you wanted to get on a ROM. So yeah, no, there's a ton of piracy in China. Anyway, this is for 5. Thank you. Says, I already know who animated Arcane. I was talking about who produced the show. Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that one. It was Riot did produce it. Riot did oversee it. All of those things are true. So it's very, So again, that's the idea. If the Snyder Cut or Snyderverse ends up going to Netflix somehow in some alternate universe, that is not this one. Sorry guys, this timeline doesn't have that. I know it sucks that we can't choose the appropriate timeline we want to live in. I would definitely do things differently if it were me. A couple different timelines, a couple different points in time. However, no, it's still going to be produced by the people who own it. That's how this works. But like trying to explain it to people and then listening to like the utter ridiculousness of the comebacks is always really funny for me. Buzzing here says, so China just bootlegs all the Marvels they won't allow. I mean, piracy, like there are kiosks in, I think like Nigeria or Uganda or somewhere in Africa. I was reading about this many years ago. There are kiosks that what you do is you go on up and you pick a movie, and it's a new movie that's like in theaters in the States, right? And you pick that movie and you pay for that movie, and then you put in a thumb drive and it just copies the movie to the thumb drive. And that's how you go home and you watch it. Because there's like no copyright protection in those companies or in those countries. There's no feasible way of stopping piracy outside, in any capacity. There's no feasible way of stopping it. It is now more prevalent than ever, but it's also been interesting enough to see that certain places have thrived as a result of that, simply because the initial experience has to be good enough to warrant the purchase. People will always justify the entertainment price if there's FOMO. And I think with like stuff like Avatar and at least the first, saga of Marvel definitely had a lot of FOMO, but really it's just, that's how it is. But the piracy is a massive thing. It impacts the music industry far more than it impacts the movie industry. The music industry, they went draconian with that shit. Hollywood has tried to follow suit, but I think they've also realized that it's a massively losing battle. Like literally, there was a guy in LA that I met who would burn DVDs, and he would jump on an LA City bus and he would just travel around all day hustling bootleg copies of movies to people on LA City Transit. This is in Los Angeles, where movies are made, and a lot of people work in the industry, and yet he's hucking these bootlegs, right? I was at a McDonald's once on Hollywood Boulevard. This is back in 2007, I believe. And there was an incident at the McDonald's where the security guard needed to come out and actually handle it as we were waiting for our food. And I look over and the security guard is watching, it's a recent Chris Rock movie. I forget which one it was, but he was literally watching the cam bootleg of it on a portable DVD player. We're on Hollywood Boulevard. You know what I mean? Like, we're literally next to like the Egyptian or the Chinese or Grauman's Theater, right? Or like the El Cap, right? Like, we're right fucking there, literally right there. And he's watching bootleg movies and like no one cared. His boss didn't care. No one gives a shit. That's where it gets to be really fascinating. So, you know, it's really interesting how these companies approach piracy, because it's probably really similar to how Walgreens approached their losses last year, when there was all those videos floating around about like people just ripping off the stores, right? Walgreens, Rite Aid, whatever in San Francisco, because really it's kind of like anything underneath like $500 or whatever, it's like they're just not going to do shit about it, you know? And then Walgreens was out there complaining about it and everything else. And they said earlier this year that maybe, or maybe it was last year. They said last year that maybe they kind of over exaggerated on how much they actually lost. You know what I mean? So it's like these companies are going to do that for their shareholders, but later on they'll do that publicly for like, you know, like press and stuff. Cause you can lie in the media and that's not a problem, as evidenced by the, you know, people we were just making fun of. But when it comes to actual like stockholders and shareholders and, you know, and that kind of crap, or Congress or whatever, you can't lie. And that's where the truth comes out. It's very interesting. So, was it, I Think I Love My Wife, dude? I don't know. I do not know. So, you know, I'm just saying, Willie here says, I thought the bootleg era was banned from the internet in the real world. It's not, dude. It's way more prevalent. I mean, bootlegs, like, define bootlegs now. Here's something funny. We can, we'll find a way to kind of laugh at this a little bit. I got to go and bring it up. I got to try to Google it real quick. Okay, hold on. It's a Grace Randolph video. All right. It's Deadpool 2. Okay. I'm trying to see here if she's got it. If this is the one she's got it on. Let's see. So I'm just trying to, because there was something she did where she was using, maybe this one isn't it. Maybe it's just like one of her reviews, but she was using like, it was Deadpool 2, and she had used screenshots from the movie that were from a pirated cut, right? They were from a pirated cut of the film. Let me see if I can find it here, because there was something that she had done with it. What's this one here? This is Deadpool. Oh, her spoiler review. Did she have it in her regular review? I don't know. I have to find it again, but she was definitely doing it. I remember it being like one of those things where she's talking about like the breakdown and stuff. And it was literally, oh yeah. Here we go. All right. I'll just show you guys this. All right, real quick. So if you look here at the image of Ryan Reynolds inside the, you know, if you get inside of the prison, right, you can see that is actually, that is a cam rip of the movie. That's a cam rip of the film. You can tell from the quality. You know, even this stuff as well, right here, this shot of him with, you know, with Colossus, that is a cam rip from the movie. That is somebody recording the movie in theaters and putting it out there. And she put that in many you know, in her initial review, which came out, like, I thought that was kind of funny, but this stuff is all got like, you know, you can just tell like all this shit. It's absolutely just the quality of it is from a cam. You know, it's all like that. That's what I'm talking about here, is like, it's really funny to see that. Cause if you've seen one cam, you kind of know what it looks like, All right. You got to do that. You got to know what it is. Ryan asking, do you think streaming has increased or decreased piracy? I think in many ways it's decreased it, because it's all what we're talking about, Ryan, is accessibility. A lot of it's just accessibility. And so if it's accessible, people will pay for it. It's ease of access. So yeah, I think a lot of it's kind of dropped down. Some stuff still gets pirated quite a bit. You know, you can find numbers like HBO shows will do that. Especially because like stuff that was like HBO Max only, like Peacemaker probably was pirated quite a bit, simply because of the way that it was approached. Also here, Gaily for 5. Y'all got to get new topics. This Gunn Rock Snyder shit's getting real old. In fact, thank you for the 5. And then he does it again. So, you know, $10 right there just to let me know the topics are getting old. I'm telling you this, man. Listen, here's the thing. You're not wrong. All right. I'm not going to disagree with you on that, Gaily, NCO. All right? I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. But it's what's being talked about right now. That's the problem with it, right? Now, if you want to talk about other subjects, I recommend heading over to youtube.com/Podio commentary. Well, you can listen to my my 40-minute take on My Bloody Valentine, right? That's up right now. I've also got Megan up there. I posted that last week. I'm going to do Plane this week, right? I've also got The Running Man is coming on Wednesday. That's going to be a fun one. You know, there's stuff to talk about over there. That stuff over there is very much going to be for that. And so it's everywhere. This is what people are talking about. You know what I mean? So when I talk about the James Gunn thing, which I'm going to get to here in a second, there's a reason for that. Static Pather says, I can't believe that Grace is only 35. Wait, you guys said this is Grace from 2019. So this is like 4 years ago. This is Grace from 4 years ago, guys. So yeah, this is pre-pandemic. This is pre-pandemic Grace Randolph, which means that what we're looking at is very much pre-shut-in. And I think a lot of us looked a lot better in 2019. Lord knows I did. But I'm not trying to criticize Grace's looks. Not at all. Not at all. We got Command Unit here for $5. Thank you, buddy. Says Dumbledore, ask calmly. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but let me just make sure I've got all that stuff ready to go. Thank you for that, buddy. So, all right, why don't we talk a bit about James Gunn? We're going to go into the Snyder stuff. We're going to talk about this because I think again, it's what's on the docket. It's not everything I want to talk about. We'll get to it now. It's been enough time. So what we have here is we've got James Gunn is clearing up confusion on Man of Steel 2. Now, part of this, again, like this whole thing is what needs to be talked about here. There's a lot of stuff online, a lot of chuffa, okay? A lot of speculation, a lot of accusations, all right? A lot of those kind of things about these topics. And I think James gets blamed quite a bit for stuff. So him coming out and actually defending what's happening and where things are is definitely worthwhile. Now, Gaylid here for 5. Thank you very much. Says, you're going down a path I can't follow, Jarbo. # you were the chosen one. Well, sir, them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. But I call it like I see it. I mean, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. But I call it like I see it. And I think I'm not saying I'm out here going to run with Gunn or nothing like that. But, there's just like, you got to, people, they run with narratives online and stuff. So anyway, DC studio head James Gunn addressed fan speculation that DCU's Superman Legacy was originally Man of Steel 2. And he says, so in one of his latest Instagram stories, Gunn reacted to the headline claiming that Creatures Commandos, one of the studio's first DCU projects now in production, was being fast-tracked. Gunn clarified that Creature Commandos and also Superman Legacy were both in development before he and Peter Safran took over as studio co-chiefs in October 2022, saying, not that fast-tracked really, since Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy were both in development before we took over as DC studio chiefs. All right. And he also was pointed out here that another fan pointed out how previous assumptions would have led to confusion among the fan base, to which Gunn noted he was hired to write Superman Legacy over 6 months ago. So that would have put it at August of 2022. And that's kind of the issue that we need to talk about here, is this kind of went August of 2022 is when he was brought on to do Superman Legacy. This, of course, was before Black Adam came out. This, of course, was before the Henry Cavill cameo happened. This, of course, was before a lot of stuff. This is before Walter Hamada had even formally left the company. We can even argue. We can make the claim, because it was also in August of 2022 when Batgirl was canceled, which is what prompted Walter Hamada to seek his exit. Now, we knew he was probably going to be gone when Black Adam came out. That was coming to an end 100%. We knew that was going to happen. However, he was going to quit when they canceled Batgirl because it blindsided him. It's entirely possible that he had brought in James Gunn at the time to write Superman Legacy by giving James Gunn another project that he wanted to do, which was going to probably be Creature Commandos, as a way to maybe tie it into something else, because Peacemaker was going to be expanding into season 2, all of those things. And remember, you guys have to remember this as well, that back in July of 2018, right? So nearly 5 years ago, when James Gunn was canceled, the very next day, DC head called him, that would be probably Hamada or Toby Emmerich, shot him a call and offered him a gig. And what was the very first project they offered him? Oh yeah, Superman. And this was before Henry Cavill had been fired from the role in September of 2018, a couple months after this initial phone call, when James Gunn did turn down. He turned down that particular job. I think at the time it was very much an optics thing. It's like, you can't bring me, people are going to freak out if I come over here to tackle Superman and all this shit's going down. All right. But again, he turned it down, but they've wanted him to revitalize Superman's character now for about 5 years. So at this particular point, he was brought in to do that. Then everything went haywire with all the cancellations, and he ended up finding himself getting this job. And guess what happens? He was still hired by the company to write the movie, and Zaslav probably still wanted him to write and most likely direct the film, right? Most likely direct the movie. We have to remember that when we talk about this, the people that screwed over Henry Cavill was not James Gunn, because he was actually brought in ahead of time to do it another way anyway. Toby Emmerich had fired Henry Cavill September of 2018. Henry Cavill had moved on to Netflix. And then Henry Cavill had also been working on getting Warhammer, which finally came to fruition not long after all this other stuff with him went down with Superman. He probably chose to come back just because The Rock told him it was going to happen. Danny Garcia said it was going to happen. They've been trying to make it happen. Pam Abdi, Mike DeLuca made that call. And Zaslav definitely, in my opinion, agreed with it. Now, here's the question. Here's the thing. Why? That is what it boils down to. That's what we have to remember here, guys. Why? Why did this happen? Think about that. Because once we can answer that, why Henry Cavill was allowed to come back to film 2 cameos for a total of $500,000, why James Gunn was brought in to write Superman Legacy back in August of last year, why did James Gunn and Peter Safran not want to continue with Henry Cavill after taking on the job a couple days later? Why did all of this go down? That is the question. Best speculation I can give, the Occam's razor of what I can give, is simply this. Zaslav was hedging his bets. I think that is definitely not a unique opinion. There are a lot of other people that have that opinion as well. But basically, I think that he was hedging his bets. Think about it like this. He goes, okay, I've just taken over this company. We need to make money. The thing that is going to make money are probably going to be not even the Trinity, because Wonder Woman 84, I think, really hurt Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Like that movie fundamentally tanked to the brand. It did. No one speaks positively of Wonder Woman 84. Like literally, like you can ask anyone, like you watch it. Yeah. You like it? And then you got Wonder Woman's a rapist, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Why'd they do that? Right? That kind of crap. There's like, no one really speaks positively of Wonder Woman 84. It was wasted potential. And so Wonder Woman 3 with Patty Jenkins, simply not happening. Gal is in Shazam, so she's not being let go yet because they want her out there helping promote the movie. It makes the most amount of sense. Okay, but now there's rumors that Gazelle is going to come back in the Fast and Furious. How that's going to happen, I got no effing idea. But I mean, gals got open time. I mean, all these things are just like Superman and Batman are the primary money makers for Warner Brothers. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It ain't even Superman. It ain't even Superman. Fucking Batman makes the most amount of goddamn money. Batman has and always will have financially make more money than Superman for DC. Not even Warner Brothers, guys. It's for DC. The top 2 merch sales are fucking Batman and Harley Quinn. All right. Don't you think that if it was like, if everyone tells me, but Matt, the top character is Superman. It's always Superman. Everything is Superman. Wouldn't Superman be the top merch seller? Wouldn't he be the top comic seller? Wouldn't he be the top of everything? Wouldn't everybody have a fucking Superman lunchbox? Dude, I mean, I'm just telling you guys, like Superman as a whole in the mainstream is a bit of a lost cause. I think Henry was great. I would love to see more with that. Superman Legacy really has to reinvent the wheel. It has to reinvent the wheel. And even James Gunn the other day referred to Superman as a big galoot, like a goofy guy. Wasn't talking about Clark, folks. He was talking about Supes. So that's going to be fascinating to see what happens there. But additionally, and again, what I think is going to happen here when it comes to James Gunn and Superman Legacy, again, let's look at this from what we know. He's a big fan of Superman, right? Loved him. But if you ask, most likely it has a lot to do with Richard Donner. Kevin Feige's a massive Richard Donner fan, massive 78 Superman fan. We know that before they go and work on any Marvel project, they sit down and they watch Superman 78. We know this. They've said this. So if you think about it, James Gunn has gone to Marvel now on 4 different projects, and so he's watched probably Superman with Kevin Feige quite a number of times. So that would probably be the idea that they want to pull from, because that seems to be the idea everybody wants to pull from, is the Christopher Reeve movie. Okay. So we can kind of guess that Superman Legacy will probably pull quite a bit from Richard Donner. I don't think that's a stretch to say. I don't think that's a stretch at all. I think it's pretty average. I think it's pretty on point. The problem, though, is guess what other movie tried that too? Yeah, it was a long time ago, guys. It was June 2006. Superman Returns was effectively Superman 2.5. It felt a lot like a Richard Donner movie because that's exactly the kind of movie Bryan Singer set out to make. And guess what happened? Largely rejected by audiences. The first Superman movie since 1989, and it was rejected by audiences. I keep saying it. You guys don't want to believe me. You guys don't want to believe me on this, and I don't want to keep hammering it home. I don't want to have to keep explaining it. But if you just look at it through the concept, all right, the concept of what is popular in film, what Zack did with fucking Man of Steel was actually really good. It did the best. It did the best, and then Justice League a couple years later fucking killed it. And killed Henry Cavill Superman. That's what did it, folks. Can James Gunn revitalize that? Hell, I don't fucking know. But if at any point in time during the marketing campaign for Superman Legacy, you hear the words, "You'll believe a man can fly," because I think that's going to pop up quite a bit. That was on the original poster for Superman back in 78. Then you're going to know that that's the exact model they're pulling from. And look, in James Gunn, I trust, and I'm not admonishing him. I'm merely pointing out that when it comes to making a character like Superman relevant in the modern age, going back to his basics that we know from 1978 are quite frankly not going to do it. That's just the reality of it, folks. So there's that. In Gunn we trust. I mean, yeah, I'm okay. I want to see what's going to happen with that. Sitting there. Okay. Let me also just say this. You can sit there and quote, or you can sit there and tell me this. You can go, Matt, did you see Superman and the Elite? No, I didn't. Did you read Superman, All-Star Superman? No, I didn't. Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you read this? Did you do this? The answer to that's probably no across the board, because I'm just not a big Superman fan. It doesn't interest me. However, I'm going to clarify by pointing out the fact that adaptations are different. Adaptations will take the good and the bad and they try to make it work. Adaptations will change the good. They'll alter the bad. Sometimes good will be bad. Sometimes bad will be good. It all depends on who's the person adapting the property and how exactly they're adapting it. But adaptations by definition are different. And I think that's something we have to remember. You can sit there and tell me, right? Here's the thing. Like what's a book you love or a comic you love where there's an adaptation of it and it literally just does it in name only, right? I'm sure you can think of a couple. You can think of a couple, they slap a name on there. You're like, that's nothing to happen with this. It's nothing to do with this. I mean, quite a fair amount of that happens, right? Quite a fair amount of that happens with adaptations because people out there want a one-to-one. The thing is though, you can't do a one-to-one in like 99% of adaptations, unless perhaps the original creator is the person that is the head of that project. And even then, that is very difficult to do. George Lucas tried. We remember the prequels. I unabashedly adore the prequels, okay? But I'm not going to sit there and say that they're like fantastically made. Well, okay, Revenge of the Sith is really good. Like it's super good. But it's like there's problems with it, right? But then again, those are still trying to, with the guy in charge. But he was missing part of his creative team that helped make the original trilogy as good as it is. So there you go. All right, there's a super chat here from This Is. Thank you. Says, David Zaslav already in trouble for completely different reasons, mostly because he canceled all those animated shows. I mean, look, here's the thing with that, man. Yeah, that ain't good. You know what I mean? Like that ain't great. He shouldn't have done that at all. I think that's really stupid that they canceled those shows. And unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to be able to actually find something that works for them. They said they're not doing that anymore. All right. They said that they're not doing that anymore, that they are done with the rampant mass cancellations. They've said that. So with any luck, they'll be away from that and we can move forward. But like I said, I do feel a lot of that stuff is coming back. I do feel like a lot of that stuff is coming back here. So, all right. Anyway, look, you guys may disagree with me about Resident Evil is a terrible adaptation. There we go. See, there you go. What was it? The Resident Evil Netflix show? Like in name only, right? Blargan here says Lawnmower Man and it rules. I mean, Starship Troopers, John Hodgson said Starship Troopers is far different from the Heinlein novel. Wanted by Enterprising here brings up the, was it the Mark Millar comic directed by Timur Bekmambetov? I never read the comic. Love the movie though. Love the movie. Civil War is very much in name only. Right? In name only. So, Nick here, but again, here's what I said. I clarified my point. You don't want to listen to my point. It doesn't matter if I read Superman or not. It doesn't matter if I read anything or not. What I'm talking about here is adaptations and picking certain storylines and all that kind of shit. Someone could sit there and go, you know what I want to do? I want to adapt the book of Job from the Bible. I want to adapt the book of Job from the Bible. And they make the book of Job, which is a very interesting story about God and devil making a bet that they can literally, God can destroy a man's life, take away his home, his crops, his family, murder, burn, slaughter them all. And that Job will never lose faith. Will never lose faith, right? All the bad things in the world happen to Job. But if he holds true, he'll be rewarded in the end. And that's kind of what this whole thing with Snyder is about, right? It's like, it's kind of the book of Job, where they think everything is being taken away from them. But if they just hold true to their faith, if they just hold true and they don't stop praying and they don't stop believing, don't stop believing, right? Then they're going to be rewarded in the end, because that is the moral of that particular story. That is what it's getting at. Okay. But that's not real. But if I were going to do that as an adaptation, for modern times, would people be mad at me for adapting it to modern times rather than pulling from the time of which the book was written or the book was based during a time when it was definitely like pre-medieval? Like we're talking beginning of the, of like the beginning of our calendar and whatever, right? Back in the fucking, year 73 or whatever the fuck it is, right? I'm being hyperbolic, but that's my point. Is like what you're talking about though is like literally something that is impossible to do, because every person who is the writer will have a different interpretation of who that character is and what that character needs to go through, their trials, their tribulations, their ups, their downs, their wins, their losses, the enemies that they face, the challenges that they come across, and the friends that they have along the way. It's all going to be different. But what I'm talking about though is when you make an adaptation, adaptations are fundamentally different from the source material because they fucking have to be. They have to be. It has nothing to do with exactly what about Superman is blah, 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 what you're trying to say, because you're missing the point of what I'm trying to say. So Plushy here says Superman versus the Elite might be part of why they're adapting the Authority. I can actually tell you exactly why they're adapting the Authority. It has everything to do with the popularity of the boys. Because there's no other way to describe it, right? Again, we have to look at it like this. All right. David Zaslav is not in it. Is not in it for originality. All right. We have to be honest about that. We have to be really honest. By the way, we just hit 100 live viewers, guys. Thank you guys so much. Please crack that like. Where are we at? What are we up to? We're up to 29 likes, 100 people. Let's get a 50, guys. Let's get to fucking 50. We can do it, you guys. 21. Lucky number 21. Anyway, here's the thing. Zaslav, as we know, thinks that Kevin Feige has got it locked down. Kevin Feige understands how to take these properties and turn them into billion-dollar franchises. Not characters, but franchises. Franchises that will live on and continuously bring in passive income and make a lot of fucking money for him and the shareholders of WBD. So what does he do? He goes to James Gunn, who studied underneath Kevin Feige, who was being groomed to take over, right? Taught, poised, whatever, to take over the cosmic side, to take on the cosmic side of the MCU in order to oversee that, while Feige could then work on other elements of stuff, right? Having a capo. He'd be a lieutenant like Victoria Alonso and Lou D'Esposito. Like that's exactly what James Gunn was going to do. That didn't happen. Gunn got fired. We all know the fucking story. So Zazzy brings in Gunn, who is still really tight with Kevin Feige, who understands the concepts of taking smaller characters that are going to be cheaper to make, cheaper to produce, and turning them into household names. Why? Because he's already done that twice now. Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker, right? Turn those characters into household names. Peacemaker, love it, hate it, I don't give a shit, was one of the highest rated shows of 2022. It was HBO Max's most popular original series in 2022. Obviously, this year is going to clearly be The Last of Us. But that's the whole point, is that they need to find a way to cheaply make these products and to get them out there in a way that is going to captivate audiences and turn these B-list, C-list, D-list, Z-list characters into household names. So what do? You go to where the people have made the most money and you find ways to talk with them. What else did he do? Oh, by the way, yeah. What did Iger do? Just as a thing, right? Why don't we talk about this? Yeah. When Iger came on in, right? Back like 15 years ago, and he came into Disney and he needed to revitalize everything. He coaxed Alan Horn out of retirement, right? Out of retirement to come in and take over Disney Pictures, right? Disney, Buena Vista, right? To take over Disney, to take over their film department. And through bringing in Alan Horn and overseeing everything with Alan Horn, they turned that into a motherfucking juggernaut. Because back in the day, right, when Alan Horn was overseeing Warner Brothers, they were the number one dog in town. They really fucking were. They absolutely were. They had the highest market share. They had their movies pulled in some good fucking money. They did really, really, really well. That not so much the case anymore because the leadership on that front crapped the fuck out. But now Alan Horn is like a consigliere over at Warner Brothers Discovery. He has an office on the lot. He comes in a couple times a week. He is there to help out get Warner Brothers Picture Group back on track. That will, to some extent, include DC Studios. But for the most part, that is a way to bring in talent about where to guide things and where to direct things and where to go with things in order to help Warner Brothers get back on track. Even Bob Iger himself was consulted by David Zaslav because Zaslav, remember on his listening tour, wanted to learn from the fucking best. So what does he do? He cheats on his homework by bringing in people who know the game and giving them the keys to the kingdom and giving them full control in order to do what they fucking do best, which is print money and to do it effectively and cheaply. That's what we have to remember here. That's what we have to remember here. This is what we're looking at. Everything that's going to happen here, everything that is happening, we can trace it the fuck back because we know that Zaslav is not interested in originality necessarily. He's interested in chasing what others have done. But instead of just trying to look at it from afar and copy off somebody else, he's bringing in these ringers who know the game and can do it well. That's why, folks, and I love to say this. I just love to bring this up again because, again, I'm 100% proven right on this every fucking time. Elseworlds is dead after the Batman, after the Joker. It's dead because it doesn't serve a financial interest. So does that mean the Snyderverse is over? Uh-huh. Does that mean that Crisis on Infinite Earths is happening? Nope. Does that mean that we're going to get a congruent storyline for 8 to 10 years while they get things back on track and are able to turn these properties into billion-dollar franchises? Yep. Exactly what I've been saying. It's all right there. It's all literally right there. So yeah, I am bored talking about this subject, but I feel like I have to keep bringing it up and I have to keep laying out for people exactly how things are going to be. Because it's not that I'm some kind of like fucking Hollywood insider genius. I'm an idiot who lives in the woods in Washington, but knows how to fucking read. And that's what I do a lot of the time. Anyway, sorry. All right. See you later, Darkness. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Okay. Anyway, Bob Iger cleaned Eisner's messes. Yeah, he did. Yeah, now he's back to clean up Chapeks. So Blesinger says, but the Penguin and Gotham Asylum are getting TV shows. Yes, I said once those Elseworlds are done, that's done. Matt Reeves has an overall agreement, so they're not going to fuck with that. They can't fuck with the Joker because that was greenlit by Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca. That didn't fall into the purview of DC Studios. I mean, they're working on it now, but that was greenlit before the studio was created. That's what I'm talking about. So, Blesinger says, James Gunn did give us Hot Vilma. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. God bless that gentleman. Anyway, Enterprising here says, Superman is a great superhero. There's a lot of material to draw from this. Great. Singer just focusing on homaging the first two Reeve films. He never adapted any of the comics. Nolan Reeves used Bat comics. I mean, no, that's true. I'm not saying you can't find source material. What I'm saying is, like, at the end of the day, it's still an adaptation. All right. And it's still an adaptation. So Batman is pretty simple. Superman, even in and of itself, is relatively simple, but it's going to be the execution. The execution of Nolan was like Batman Begins. So this is the birth of Batman. Then you've got Batman. You got the Dark Knight. So, all right, the Dark Knight takes place a couple years later. Now he's established as Batman, and he goes up against his greatest foe, the Joker. An unstoppable force meets an immovable object, that kind of crap. Okay, great. That's over. Then he ends up having to die at the end. Batman has to go away because Batman has to be a villain now, which is a really stupid thing to fucking do, but whatever. And then it picks up again a couple years down the road, and Gotham's in trouble, and Batman needs to come back. And then at the end of it, Batman dies once again by sacrificing himself to save the city. It's all about and then look. By the way, we look at The Dark Knight Rises, which changed Bane, changed Talia al Ghul, changed a lot of stuff, and people out there largely tend to kind of shit on it. Man of Steel didn't really adapt any comics, but it kind of like, retold some stuff that we knew and added a couple other things and shit. It kind of went back to this General Zod thing, which again is pretty much everyone's favorite Superman is number 2. I know everyone out there's like, oh my God, I love the original, but we always talk about Zod. So Zod's more the famous one here. I mean, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor was great, but let's be fair. The Zod aspect of Superman 2 is generally received greater because Terrence Stamp fucking just owned that role. So, but that's what I'm talking about here is like, you can sit there and defend all you want Superman to me. That's fine. You can love him all you want. I don't hate Superman's character. I just find Superman to be like largely irrelevant in today's world, which is why I think the Authority is going to be what they're going to focus on, and watch that be very popular. Watch the Authority be very, very popular because that's what people are into right now. That's what they're into. They're tired of they're tired of watching these heroes with their hands being held or their hands being tied behind their back. I'm telling you guys, look to see what's out there. You'll see that I'm right. You'll 100% see that I'm correct. This is here says, you're a genius. Really? I still know about Die Hard. You knew a factoid about a book. You knew a factoid I got wrong about a book. All right. Zachary, what's here to stay? I don't know here to stay. All right. Zachary here says Chapek, did do a hell of a freaking mess, didn't he? Oh yeah, no, totally. Totally did. Hell of a mess, you guys. When you have to get Iger back for 2 years, the guy wanted to retire. He wanted to sit on a beach somewhere earning 10%. It's kind of sad. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, let's go ahead here. Kevin Smith enjoyed the shit out of The Dark Knight Rises, which is a good thing. I mean, yeah, I'm glad he did. I didn't. So right now, Legacy doesn't release until 2025. Things can change. I mean, they may. Nerdy Mastermind here says having morals and being kind is outdated. Yeah, I know. That's. I don't mean it 100% like that. What I mean by that is just like people like there to be more ambiguity. All right. People want that. What it is people want to see actual change. The problem with superheroes, guys, and this is like literally true. The problem with superheroes, it's, these are modern mythology. These are modern day gods, but they're also modern day gods that don't change anything. They're modern day gods that don't benefit the world. Right. They don't, because at the end of the day with Batman, these killers, they keep getting out. Right. Batman puts another one away, but they don't stay away. Right. Like Zaz is a murderer, a fucking full on murderer, keeps getting out. Darn that Zaz, like Joker, Psycho keeps breaking out. Man, why can't they keep him? Well, Batman, why didn't you just kill him? I can't kill. I don't kill. But he kills a lot of people. So like if you would just put a bullet in his head or break his neck or drop him off a fucking balcony or whatever, that would ultimately save a lot of lives. I don't kill. Yeah, but like you kind of have the moral authority at this point to kill him in order to protect lives. I don't fucking kill. You should fucking kill because that's going to be what saves lives. Because that's, by the way, folks, that's what the people out there are going to see. They're going to see the failed attempts. Go back and watch the opening of Incredibles. The opening of The Incredibles, which is clearly a knockoff of Watchmen, handled that shit really well. The public just got tired of it. That's where we are. It's not like, and I'll give you guys another example of this as well. We can argue, like, let's say Marvel fatigue right now, right? Does Marvel fatigue exist? I don't quite know. All right. But there's like a lot of people talking about Marvel fatigue. So does Marvel fatigue play into that? It's a concept. It's an idea. It's a question, Anyway, let's see here. Okay. Jay says here, I saw your comment in Zod's chat. The only reason why he didn't let you on his panel is because he needs a narrative to write on. Oh yeah, no, I know. So let's see here. Blargan says they're aimless, super long, and can never end or have consequences because of it. It's why manga is now more popular. One single vision behind most of them, with one singular storyline that makes them matter. And I think that's kind of the point. And I you know what? I mean, I know you guys have been trying to red pill me on anime for a long time, but if you got one singular vision, and one singular vision is able to move things along, then that's definitely something that I think is going to end up being a factor in the next 10 to 20 years, right? Really. because as anime and manga start to grow, dude, I'm not even kidding you guys when I say this. I do a lot of driving. We know this because I deliver food. I see now more anime characters on stickers on cars than I'm even seeing of fucking Star Wars. And there's a lot of Star Wars in the Northwest. But I mean, I am seeing like anime characters, those little decals that look like they're riding in the backseat of a car, but they look like children. So you don't know if they're real or if they're being kidnapped. You have no fucking idea. All right. But I'm seeing like so much of that shit popping up, dude, everywhere. Everywhere I'm seeing it. And that is an indicator of where this shit is going. Just wait for somebody to come in and actually make a decent live action anime adaptation. It's fucking game over in a lot of ways. I mean, that's the thing. Will Marvel be able to actually last the next like 10 years, right? Before all of this shit starts going towards anime. I'm just saying, look how popular Star Wars Visions was. Star Wars X anime. Expect there to be an animated movie. Command Unit here says, thank you. Says, meanwhile, 40K has over 50 writers and over 600 audio books, audio dramas, etc. There's a lot there. There's a lot there, but there's a lot that's like, I mean, Warhammer is going to speak to a very specific audience of people. And that's going to be very fascinating to see how that goes. You know, Yusuf here says DC Studios separation from Warner is the best thing that ever happened to DC. Dude, 100%, man. Danny here says anime is extremely diverse. It's a lot of work to find a good one, but it's worth it. I mean, again, once you find that good one, people are like, you know, they'll talk about it. You know, I mean, I'm not even really big in anime, but man, there's some good shit out there. I'll admit. Tony here asking, do I think a Mando movie will ever happen? Oh, dude, 100%. Let's see here. Spider here says MCU's quality has dropped to just make good movies. I mean, that's where they're going to have to kind of like, you know, they're going to have to really kind of they're going to have a reckoning on that shit. Ralph's Double Tits here says, Japan got its revenge. They are weed-pilling the sins of our past will doom us all. Oh yeah. It only took 80 years, you know, only took 80 years, you know, for Japan to get their vengeance. Anyway, this is here says Edge of Tomorrow was based on a Japanese light novel. That's true. It was, you know. Willie here says anime to me went out with Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball. I mean, I don't know. Taylor here says, I just got here. Looks like I have good timing or something about anime. All I said, Taylor, is that anime in the next, like, you know, once there's a good live action adaptation of anime, which I don't think should happen, by the way. I really don't think should happen. But like once they're able to kind of bridge that gap into the American mainstream, it's fucking over, dude, for so much other shit. Like I kept saying horror was going to reinvigorate the box office. And for right now, it is doing very well. But dude, like Demon Slayer had a movie come out in 2020 and like I think beat out Bad Boys for how much it made. Right. It's crazy. Peach Mango Pie here says, is Warhammer easy to follow? Is the chronology of the books easy to follow? No, it is not. like I wish I was kidding on that one, Peach Mango Pie. I really wish I was kidding on that. This shit is fucking wild. Like it is involved. And that's going to be, and that there in of itself lies the problem, right? Lies the problem with what Henry Cavill, or I should say lies the issue with Henry Cavill. And it's not even an issue. I want to rephrase that. The challenge that Henry Cavill has is going to be turning that mainstream and making it approachable to like non-UK, non-British Western audiences. They're going to look at that kind of crap and just go, so it's Warhammer 40K. There's an emperor. There's some shit. Like that's a cathedral on a ship. You know, like there's a lot there. The Recusiarch, Hell's orcs. Ooh, that guy's getting orked and chainsawed in half. That's cool. That's cool. Didn't I see that in Gears of War? I'm just saying they have their work cut out for them with that one. Anime's been able to come on in and like have this shit be here for years now. Warhammer's got people, but it's a way different kind of fan base, So to see I want to see what do Warhammer fans call themselves? Like Warhees? I don't know quite know what they call it. I want to see weebs take on Warhammer fans. That's going to be such an interesting thing. Such an interesting thing. Let's see. Roman numerals here says Cocaine Bear is going to be the new Fight Club. I have my tickets for Cocaine Bear, and I've told my girlfriend I am seeing Cocaine Bear. I am seeing it. This is here for 5. Thank you. It says Gundam took inspiration off Starship Troopers novel. So did James Cameron's Aliens and StarCraft, the video game. I already know more than you, man. You love to rub that in. I knew Gundam took inspiration from fucking Starship. Shut up. Yeah. Okay. Well, Command Unit here says, here we go. In 40K, everything is canon until retconned. And then Queen Danny here says, the videos he shows, she's referring to Command Unit, of Warhammer are mid. There are better vids. I mean, you better take that up with him, man. There's also Blargan here says, don't forget the Starship Troopers OVA from 88. It inspired so much shit aesthetically. I mean, I'd have to see that. I mean, it's kind of like Blade Runner inspired Ghost in the Shell, but then like Ghost in the Shell inspired like the Matrix and stuff. Right. So there's a lot there's a lot of that kind of crap that's going on out there. Let's see. John here says that many authors and books makes it a steam pile to deal with. So when 40K movie is made, it will ignore the steaming pile of books. It will definitely do a lot. They're going to pick a story. They're going to go with it. Right. So, and hold on here. Nerdy Mastermind says Cocaine Bear is about the flop. Dude, I don't think so, man. Cocaine Bear looks like the early reviews have come out, and they are looking mighty fine. They very much are looking, it's looking good, man. I haven't seen any other trailer since that shit. I haven't watched anything yet. I have been very good. I have been very, very, very good on that one there. Yeah, here we go. Plus she says, Mad Queen Danny better start pestering Jarbo more. I mean, you do. Well, I mean, yeah, but Command Unit pays. I'm just saying, I'm just saying if there's like a battle over better Warhammer videos, I'll entertain it, but daddy got to get his cheddar. Anyway, Ryan here says, I'm definitely seeing Cocaine Bear on my birthday. That to me says like Ryan's birthday's coming up. Ryan, do you want to share with the class when your birthday is? Because I would like to sing you happy birthday on your birthday. And I'm going to do it like a really weird, twisted version of Anna de Armas as Marilyn Manson singing happy birthday, complete with a horrible, over the top, probably going to get me canceled accent, because I love you. Anyway, I'm poor and dead. Welcome to the party, pal. March 5th. Oh, hey, your birthday is the same as my my grandmother. May she rest in peace. Mine's on March 26th. So there's that. Blessing here says, a bear on cocaine. What can go wrong? Nothing and everything, actually. Nothing and everything. So there's let's see here. Okay. Oh, he says, oh no, I'm talking financially. The movie could be great, but it's tracking at $7 million in North American. Yeah, but what was the budget of Cocaine Bear? Cocaine Bear. In fact, it's a movie called Cocaine Bear budget. The Cocaine Bear budget was 35 to 39 million. That's a very modest budget. Very modest budget. It will definitely make that. It will definitely make that. Yeah, I'm not worried about that doing well. Even my dad wants to see Cocaine Bear. Like when we went to go see Avatar and we were walking out of the Cinemark XD and we saw the poster for Cocaine Bear, he goes, oh yeah, I saw that trailer. That looks funny. So, yeah, I think Cocaine Bear is going to be a hit with a lot of different audiences. Yes, more Jarbo karaoke. I don't know. Uptown Girl. Uptown Girl. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Anyway, so Willie here says a cocaine franchise is going strong with Cocaine Shark. I mean, yeah, there was that whole story about the cocaine filled shark the other day. We'll have to see how this one does. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. Zachary here says, I've heard that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey has gotten bad reviews. What have you heard? The same. I haven't heard one good thing about Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, but that has not deterred my interest in wanting to see it. So there's that. Enterprising here says, anime is tricky to adapt in live action. You have to find anime that tells a genuinely universal story. Like Trigun is probably easier to adapt as a sci-fi steampunk Western. Gundam could too. I mean, you could also, and this is going to sound blasphemous, but I think it could potentially work overall. Neon Genesis could probably work as a live action adaptation. You know, I mean, it would just be very expensive. But the thing with that is though, like, again, it's kind of like, it's like comics. I don't think comics and I like live action comic book movies, but I don't think comics and live action necessarily have to happen like that. I mean, we've seen that DC, when they spend time doing what, like focusing on their animated projects, that shit can be really, really, really well done. It costs less, and it could be something that Marvel simply isn't doing. It could be that antithesis, which is why I've said focusing on animation is probably DC's best thing, because that is their greatest strength and asset. You know, like they do really well. So I would argue, I mean, well, maybe not like completely great, but they definitely have a built-in audience, and people know kind of what to expect if there's a DC animated movie. But all things considered, when it comes to anime, like I kind of agree with the diehards that are like, why adapt something that doesn't need to be adapted? Why make it live action? Like, I mean, here's the thing. Does anybody want to see an Attack on Titan live action movie? The fucking Titans are already horrific to look at. I don't need to see that shit in fucking like 4K, 8K UHD shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's already the stuff of fucking nightmares. So I wouldn't worry about that. Whatever happened to the Mean One? I know it released in theaters, but no digital release yet. Yeah, it kind of came and went. It did. Like, let's see, the Mean One, home video. Let me see. The Mean One is coming. According what? I mean, apparently you could. What? Hold on here. I found a web. No, that can't be correct. Oh, it's a PDF. Is it? Hold on. No. Wait, what? I found this link, and it's like the Mean One, and then it brought up a 20th Century Fox movie. I don't even know what movie it is, and I'm not even able to I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell's going on here. I can't do anything with it. I'm just going to close it out here in a second, but I'll mute this. Anyway, yeah, I don't know when it's coming out there. The Mean One, Collider has a thing on that. There's really been like no talking about it at all. There's really been like no movement on its home video. So maybe, hold on, maybe all right. It was released theatrically December 9th, 2022. And it simply like doesn't have a release date. And even the wiki doesn't have the their website. Hold on, let me try to find the website here. The Mean One website. What is it? The Mean One movie.com. Okay, here we'll bring this up because now I'm curious about this one as well. Okay. Hold on here. Command Unit for 5, thank you, says if they try to adapt Code Geass, I will pray for a nuclear apocalypse. You know what, man? Now that you've said that, now that you've willed that into existence, we're all gonna die. No, it's probably gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know what they should try to do. They should not do. Yeah, I agree with Ryan. The Disney remakes don't need to happen, man. They just don't need to fucking happen. Like, just don't remake them. Like, fine, if you want to do, hold on here. Taylor says here, I can answer that question. Same reason why games, comics, and books are adapted, because they're good stories that will be overlooked by potential fans because they don't appreciate the source medium. I mean, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. I mean, The Last of Us is blowing up on HBO, and it's a video game adaptation that does take some liberties, but largely is good. largely stays true. I get that. But I also feel like it's not everything has to be in the way that they present it, But I get it. I do agree with you. I just don't think I really want I don't know if I want live action anime. Like, I mean, I kind of defend the 2017 Death Note movie on Netflix, but I don't view it as like a Death Note movie. I view it as something else entirely. Yeah, there's going to be a Bambi remake. I know. There's also going to be a Bambi horror remake as well. All right, let's see here. All right, so we got the mean one. Subscribe for updates. And that's it. That's literally it. There's nothing else here. Maybe they have something on their Instagram about a release. Maybe something on their Facebook. I'm just going to click on it real quick. All right. So, no, they haven't even updated their, they have not even updated their Facebook page since January 3rd. And they haven't updated their Instagram also since the same day. So yeah, they've largely just kind of like, I don't want to say that it's been abandoned, but clearly it has not been, really kind of, brought up in any capacity. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on the mean one. With any luck, we'll get something there pretty good. But all right, guys, on that note, it is 11:30 almost here. Let's check out the, what was the thing that command unit wanted us to look at here, and then we'll wind it down just because I've got a kid who is still awake that I need to go look after. My 5-year-old is very much playing the whole, hey, I don't have school tomorrow, so I am going to stay up and bug you. So I have to go and make sure she's okay. But all right, so this one is called Dumbledore Asked Calmly, a 4chan green text dub. Oh, great. 4chan. So what was The Rock fuck up? The Rock fucked up by bringing Henry Cavill back, man. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, they got their cash and they gone. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're doing the thing over there. I might hit them up for a quick link to come over and ask them about the whole thing. Here, I'll say, invite me to Enosh for a minute. I want to laugh at you guys. Anyway. All right. We'll take a look at this here and go from there.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
No, sir, I didn't. Harry pleaded.
Liar! Apostate! Blasphemer!
Dumbledore roared in Harry's face.
This cannot be tolerated, Potter. You have defiled the holy sacrament of the Triwizard Tournament. Now all of Hogwarts is at risk.
The students' faces turned pale as ghosts, and audible whispers and gasps could be heard from the crowd.
Silence!
Dumbledore declared.
Mr. Potter has committed an unforgivable sin. We all know what must be done. The Great Goblet's wrath must be appeased.
No, Headmaster, please! Take me instead! Ron cried, running towards Harry and Dumbledore.
Avada Kedavra!
Dumbledore's wand unleashed the killing curse, and Ron's lifeless body crumpled to the floor. The students screamed in horror.
Silence, you foolish children! Silence!
Dumbledore screamed calmly. Snape seized Harry by the arm and dragged him to the goblet. Dumbledore carefully took hold of the goblet, lowering it from its pedestal onto a gold-trimmed square of silk fabric on the floor. Snape forced Harry into a kneeling position, his neck positioned directly over the goblet. Dumbledore stood over Harry. He and the students began to chant in unison.
O great and mighty goblet of fire, grant mercy to us, your unworthy servants. Accept this recompense of blood in exchange for the sins of Hogwarts. Let the death of this blasphemer satisfy your vengeance.
Snape unsheathed a ritual athame, and seizing Harry by his scalp, began to cut his throat open.
Jesus.
Blood gushed out into the goblet as Harry gurgled in pain. The flow of blood trickled off. Harry was dead. The chanting ceased, and Dumbledore turned to address the crowd of students.
May the death of your classmate Harry Potter serve as a reminder of where you stand. We serve the Goblet of Fire. The goblet is our master.
The goblet is our master. The goblet is our master.
I kind of thought there was gonna be like a joke at the end of that thing. I guess not. Okay. Let's all right. Well, oh my God, this is hot flick bean. Well, I mean, now we know. All right. We learned a lot tonight, folks. We learned that Nerdrotic might be gay, that Eric D. July might be into cuck porn, and that Harry Potter getting yeeted and skeeted very much turns Mad Queen Dandy on. So there we have it, folks. Hollywood After Dark. You're never gonna get anything like it again. Actually, the last thing here we go. Ryan, $5 at the very end. Thank you. On March 4th, the day before my birthday, I'd like to sponsor a video of yours. I have a list of animated shorts I'd like to show you. Then we will do it. We will do it. Thank you, Ryan. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace the hell out and go watch a movie.